And what else did Lady Forsythia say?
That she'd rather drown herself than help the Inquisition.
Anything else?
She said she'd have us flogged alive if we allied with her brother.
That does sound like her.
Cheer up, Josie. We at least have her attention.
You always do find the brighter side of things. We are in the midst of cementing an alliance with Lady Forsythia of Navarra, your worship. It's become a somewhat delicate task.
She'll have us flogged alive.
I believe she meant flayed alive. Her ladyship tends to confuse metaphors when she's excitable. I dissuaded her from sending soldiers when she learned we'd struck an accord with a brother she's feuding with. Lady Forsythia simply employs a colorful manner of speech.
You're rather good-natured about threats of death and dismemberment.
They are chiefly bluster, Inquisitor. Most of them. But I confess I do miss my staff from the embassy in Antiva. It was always useful to discuss the day's visitors with them.
I have time if you'd like to review things with me.
I wouldn't wish to impose.
If it were imposing, I wouldn't have offered.
Well, I admit there are a few potential alliances it would be good to discuss. Right on the parlor floor, in front of everyone at the soiree. Who does such a thing in front of their guests?
The Duke of Kellington, apparently.
And then there's Cole's lurking. It frightens our guests half to death. Lord Gennard still won't respond to our letters. And Sarah, can she not find a single overshirt with that mustard stains on it? Then there's Dorian. The man refuses to take anything seriously unless it suits its whim. Not to mention... Oh goodness. Have we been here an hour already?
It went by so quickly, I didn't even notice.
You're far too polite. I didn't intend to go on for so long. You must think me quite the gossip.
You've been working continually since I met you, Josephine.
And that can't stop. I must be going. But I leave feeling less troubled than I have in weeks. It's good to see you.
Tell me about the Montiliers.
Well, my parents are alive and in good health. They live in our estate in Antiva City. Of my 4 siblings, most attend to the running of the family vineyards. That reminds me, I must ask someone to make sure Yvette attends the spring reception at the palace. My youngest sister has no head for social engagements.
Why are you overseeing your siblings' social lives?
It's Antivan custom. After a certain age, the heir apparent runs the family's estate to prove they're worthy of succession. If you're unfit for the task, the heads of the house, usually one's parents, may decree a new heir.
What do these Antivan heads of the households do if they don't run it?
They work and provide guidance. I've taken advice from my parents. Well, mostly mother. Father's more of an artist. It's rather gauche, but we never can dissuade him from running his own salons. Between him and my siblings, Mother is looking forward to my taking over the estate.
Between that and the Inquisition, when do you ever rest?
Delegation helps a great deal. But managing the estate is my duty. As much work as it is, I will not shirk it.
Is running your family's estate that important to you?
I'm responsible for their welfare. A Montilier never shuns their familial duty. Taxing as those duties can sometimes be.
Maybe your siblings could help lighten your burden.
You don't know them. But Lorien in charge, or Antoine, or Yvette? No, truly. It must be me.
Where were you raised, Josephine?
I was born in Antiva City, But when I turned 15, Mother declared I'd attend finishing school in Val Royeaux. But I bawled into her skirts the day I had to leave.
You must have missed her terribly.
I did. And she was most unsympathetic to my wailing. But my mother only wanted the best for me. Living in Orlais was an education in itself.
What did you learn at this finishing school in Val Royeaux?
Among other things, mathematics, rhetoric, poetry, history, logic, and a great deal of etiquette. I still remember Madame Beventir's switch on my knuckles when I forgot the basic tenets of Nevaran dining customs. For a dowager approaching her 80th year, she had quite the arm.
How did the younger you like Val Royeaux when you arrived?
Have you ever stepped into a new city and felt the buildings couldn't possibly be real? That was Val Royeaux to me. So beautifully foreign, I gaped at its spires for months.
Does Antiva City have nothing that compares to Val Royeaux?
Antiva City is a jewel among the capitals. But I did not appreciate that before I traveled. There are multitudes of places I'd like to see. Seheran, the Anderfels, whatever lies past the Amaranthine Ocean.
Who rules Antiva?
Officially, the Principality of Antiva is governed by His Majesty King Fugelno II. In reality, Antiva's merchant princes rule the country in everything but name. Quite loudly, I might add.
What sort of dealings did you have with these merchant families?
As ambassador, I attended Privy Council meetings in a mediatory capacity. May I just say, one has never heard an argument until they've sat in on 15 princes howling down each other's tariff suggestions.
That sounds more like a mob than a meeting.
It's all a part of life in Antiva. Our traditions value passion and romance. A certain exuberance of style.
Are you positive you're Antivan?
I can be most exuberant when it's called for. Just at the right moments, and in a proper fashion. Might we speak of something else?
What's the land like in Antiva?
The settled areas are quite lush. The vineyards run as far as the eye can see in some places. Antiva City, however, perches right up against the Rialto Bay. That's what I miss most. The sea crashing against the maze of the docks.
I have difficulty seeing you wandering around a trading port.
Everyone in Antiva City spends time by the ships, my lady. The finest restaurants and poets all make their habitation by the sea. The waterfronts never still. Lanterns are lit along the promenade no matter what the weather.
Are you ever homesick?
Occasionally. When a breeze stirs the trees in the garden, I sometimes pretend it's the sound of the surf. Do you know, I even miss those terrible squawking birds infesting the harbor. My youngest sister used to throw whole loaves of bread to the gulls. Silly thing.
You said the Montiliers used to run an entire trading fleet. What happened?
There was a scandal in Val Royeaux more than an age ago. The Montiliers were forbidden from trading with Orlais. Our personal fortunes never quite rebounded.
Does anyone in Orlais even remember what that scandal was?
I doubt it, but the injunction persists.
What exactly happened?
An affair with a minor lord. Perhaps. Most other details are lost.
Are you saying your family's livelihood was ruined because of a love affair no one even remembers?
Essentially, Orlesian politics are full of these unhappy little missteps, Inquisitor.
You haven't really gone into detail about how you know Leliana.
We met... let me think. We met the last few years of my schooling, but we became friends after I became ambassador to Orlais. It seems terrifyingly long ago now.
How exactly did you and Leliana reconnect in the Inquisition?
I discovered my family had been overcharging a merchant we traded with for months. Our name carries a great deal of trust in Antiva. I spent weeks arranging a string of favors as suitable recompense. Apparently satisfied, the merchant extended me an invitation to her estate. Leliana greeted me in place of the merchant.
I assumed there was more to it than a strange way to say hello.
It was a test of sorts. Leliana claimed she needed someone of painful integrity for the Inquisition. I accepted, once she finally explained what it was.
Do you remain close?
Yes, but she's grown so much more distant than the outgoing woman I met in Val Royeaux. Leliana used to wander the Orlesian courts, singing the sweetest songs, charming the greatest wits. Now she collects secrets and takes risks that would make empires tremble. I worry, but she will not hear it.
Does Leliana confide in you?
She enjoys revisiting our more disastrous adventures. Leliana used to concoct the most ridiculous plans. Run if you ever see her with a twine ball, a measuring stick, and a handkerchief.
Let's speak later.
Another time. Inquisitor, I must speak with you.
What is it?
I must explain something first about the Montilier's fortunes.
I remember you said your family had been forbidden from trading in Orlais.
It's devastated our finances. The Montilliers have, in fact, been in debt for over 100 years.
I had no idea your family's situation was so precarious.
Hardly anyone outside the family does. For generations, we've done everything to keep creditors at bay. Sold our lands to stave off interest. It is infuriating to see my family still reduced to this. I'm to become head of our house. If I sell any more of our land, my family will become destitute. That cannot be my legacy to them.
Most people worry about their next meal, never mind an estate.
I'm not blind, but I worry for my family. My foolish sister Yvette with her daydreams, my brothers trying to rebuild our fleet with their own hands. Is it wrong to hope they never know hardship?
Is there anything I can do?
I'd almost solved our problems. For a while. I negotiated a chance to reinstate the Montilliers as landed traders in Orlais. We could rebuild with that. But when I dispatched paperwork to Val Royeaux, I've just learned my carriers were murdered. And the documents restoring my family's trading status destroyed.
Who hates the Montilliers enough to do that?
Leliana made inquiries that bore success. Comte Boisvert, a nobleman in Val Royeaux, claims to know who killed my messengers. He has a request that you come when I meet him, so he's seen publicly conferring with you.
What will being seen with me gain the Comte?
The Comte will drop hints at parties he's to meet with an important visitor. Allies and rivals will take note. Once he's met you, there will be speculation. The Comte will subtly spin reports to his advantage. He will use us. But if he knows who killed my people, I ask that we indulge him.
If that's what it takes to get to the bottom of this, I'll meet this Comte with you.
Thank you, Inquisitor. It means... you are too kind. I must know who killed my couriers just to harm my family.
Welcome, my friend.
Thank you for seeing us, Comte Boisvert.
The honor is mine. Please, sit. It's an honor to assist two such distinguished guests.
I hope helping us doesn't endanger you.
Hardly. Even a brush with someone as well known as yourself can become a great asset in Val Royeaux. Giving you the identity of those who murdered Lady Montilier's messengers seemed the least I could do. Have you heard of the House of Repose?
The Assassin's League?
My contacts obtained a copy of a document in the archives. Contract for life.
The House of Repose is hereby sworn to eliminate anyone attempting to overturn the Montilier's trading exile in Orlais.
Overly complicated assassination plots are part of Orlesian politics, I take it.
They're all too common, I'm afraid.
The contract was signed by a noble family. The Duparquets.
But the Duparquets died out as a noble line over 60 years ago.
Indeed. But the contract was signed 109 years ago.
How can a family try to kill you after they died out?
The Duparquets were our rivals. They drove the Montiliers from Val Royaux. This contract was drawn up over 100 years ago, but it wasn't invoked until I tried to overturn my family's exile.
Unpleasant though it may be, the House of Repose is merely fulfilling its contractual duties.
If the people who wanted your family dead are gone, why are the assassins still after you?
A contract is a contract, Inquisitor. Orlesian businesses live and die by their reputations. The entire guild's welfare would be endangered if an agreement was tossed aside on a whim of time or fate.
She's quite right, Your Worship. The House of Repose is doing what it feels necessary, by its standards.
I assume you have a thought or two on this, Josephine?
The Duparquets still have descendants under the common branch. If we elevate them to nobility, a Duparquet could annul the contract on my life.
That will take time, Lady Montilier. Time during which the House of Repose will be obliged to hunt you.
Will they now? You are exceedingly well informed. You're not to have said you'd heard rumors, at best.
A bit of subterfuge. This contract on your life is an ugly business. One the House of Repose deeply regrets. But this is Orlais. Even an assassin's word is his bond.
Does Comte Boisvert actually exist?
Absolutely. The Comte's offer to reveal the killers of Lady Montilier's messengers was genuine. So was his information somehow. An end to be tied up later.
I thought you were remarkably well informed about a secret assassins guild.
We are hardly secret, my dear Inquisitor, just normally much more reclusive. The contract on Lady Montilier's life is so unusual, we felt the courtesy of an explanation was in order.
It is appreciated, monsieur.
Your idea to seek out the Duparquet to revoke our orders is an interesting one. I wish you luck. I did not come to shed blood today, Inquisitor. Only to speak. Might I pass?
Why warn us about your contract and let us go?
In Orlais, it is only decent to inform those involved in a contract when extraordinary circumstances conspire.
And the guild's reputation would suffer if you ignored the contract. I quite understand.
Thank you, my lady. May we conclude with my departure?
Go then.
Good day, Your Worship. My lady, I pray we never meet again.
Well, I didn't think our meeting would end like this.
We'll deal with these assassins.
I have some thoughts. Let's discuss them back at Skyhold. I'll feel safer with the castle's walls around me.
Do you hear something?
Oh, goodness. Comte Boisvert, is that you? Oh, the lock's been broken off. We'll find a saw. I realize the cabinet is quite valuable, Comte, but surely... A locksmith, then? As you wish. Master Solas asked that, did he?
He said it was at your convenience, my lady.
No, I'll see to it right away. His hunches are usually correct. I'm so sorry, Inquisitor. I never thought my family's trading status would trap us in an assassin's plot.
You couldn't have known it would lead to this House of Repose coming after you.
It still shouldn't have slipped past me. I've tracked down the last du Paraquets. If they become gentry, they can annul the contract on my life. We'll require a noble from Val Royaux to sponsor them, a judge to provide documents, a minister to ratify them.
It's so like you to take the longest course of action, even when your life is at stake.
I assume you already know everything about this mess.
There is a faster way, Josephine. The original contract on your life is in the vaults of the House of Repose. If my agents infiltrate it and destroy the original, the assassin will have no obligation to chase you.
Leliana, please. I want no more bloodshed over a personal affair.
Don't be so stubborn, Josie. How long will it take you to gather these favors in Val Royaux?
Give me some time to think this over.
I'll post a watch on our ambassador in case the House of Repose visits.
I appreciate it, but I still believe elevating the du Paraquets will solve this. First, we need to perform some favors in Val Royaux. I'd be happy to discuss where we could begin. Any news on the House of Repose, Inquisitor?
You said I'd have to do some favors in Val Royaux if we want to make the du Paraquets lords.
The Countess Dion is our first step. Her lover, a mage from the White Spire, is missing. Bring her news of him and she'll be very amenable to sponsoring the du Paraquets as lords.
Inquisitor, what an unexpected pleasure. You must have had a long journey to the city. Might there be any news from this house?
Here's a letter from Ellery. He's safe with his family in the Dales.
Oh, my Ellery. Oh, bless you. The Dions will sponsor the du Paraquets as a family deserving of a noble title, Inquisitor. You have my word. Now please, forgive my hastiness, but I must read Ellery's words. Make her keep you.
Inquisitor!
What happened here?
The House of Repose decided to pay a visit. The guards arrived in time, but I should have guessed the assassins would infiltrate the servants.
Are you sure they didn't hurt you?
They only frightened me. It was all so sudden. Leliana assigned people to shadow me. They appear to have saved my life. I owe you everything, Sergeant.
Only my duty, Ambassador. I'll talk with the spy master about these murderous louts. She'll find how they got in.
Any news on the House of Repose, Inquisitor?
How exactly does one turn farmers into members of the upper classes?
There are procedures for granting honored citizens of the Empire the title of Lord or Lady. Very long procedures. And so much paperwork. I've called in a substantial number of favors just to cut through half of it.
Why did the du Paraquets hate the Montiliers so much they set up a permanent assassination watch?
There's not much more beyond what I mentioned before. A Montilier and a du Paraquet fell in love. A young couple, pledged elsewhere, attempted to elope. The whole thing ended so violently, it's a wonder any survived. It's fortunate the du Paraquets' descendants hold no grudges.
What if the du Paraquets refused to aid you?
I've already contacted the du Paraquets, Inquisitor. They're ready to help us. It will be a long road, but a lordship is a chance to restore a proud lineage to their heirs. Besides, I've promised them a heavy bag of coin once this is over.
Are you sure the House of Repose will forget this assassin contract on a farmer's signature?
It's perfectly legal. In Val Royaux's noble circles, a written word is a bond. Besides, the guild would never risk being so unspeakably crass.
These assassins are afraid of being seen as impolite.
Breaking one's public oath or bond implies a certain poverty in Orlais. A common merchant may lack the resources or manners to fulfill a debt, but among the guilds, it would be shameful.
What's the next favor we need to get these du Paraquets a lordship?
We need a judge of the royal court to procure documents acknowledging them as nobility again. Any news on the House of Repose, Inquisitor?
What's the next favor we need to get these du paraquets a lordship?
We must persuade Minister Belize to ratify the papers. She's in charge of these matters of rank. The minister will be at a small fete thrown by the Marquis Wiscott. I'll get you an invitation.
Thank you for seeing me in private, Minister Belize.
I chastise you for taking me from the party, Inquisitor, but the Marquis throws such dull affairs. It's hardly worth it. I assume you wish to discuss your petition to elevate these du paraquets to a minor lordship. Tell me, why should I allow you to pollute the Orlesian nobility any further than it's already been muddled?
The du paraquets used to be noble. You'd be restoring an old house of Orlais.
Restoring it far too late. What are the du paraquets now? Traders? Farmers? Really, it is too much. The very thought causes me pain. What can you possibly provide that will make your petition worth my effort?
Diplomatic connections that reach far beyond the boundaries of Valréaux, perhaps.
I might make use of your ambassador. The Montiliers aren't what they were, but at least they're from proper stock. Arrange for me to be introduced to the court of Antiva. I hear winter is most pleasant by their sea. Very well, Inquisitor. Should you fulfill this bargain, I shall raise the du paraquets into lordship.
I received a letter from the House of Repose, Your Worship. They acknowledge their contract is null and void. There is no longer a price on my life.
They're a polite bunch of ruthless murderers. I'll give them that.
I regret we were forced to deal with them, that you were endangered by my part in the game. Did I ever mention I used to be a bard?
You were a singer?
Bards entertain the Orlesian court. They sing, play music, make charming conversation, and spy. Many young nobles put on a mask and practice playing the game in such a fashion.
What made you interested in becoming a bard?
I was attending a university in Valroyo when I learned about bards. There was such an air of romance about them. Stories of secrets, trysts, and fascinating people. A group of us, young gentry from Antiva, decided this exciting life was for us.
I don't imagine many firstborn heirs join those ranks.
No, I was a rather foolish exception. During one particular intrigue, I encountered a bard sent to kill my patron. We fought. Or perhaps scrapped is the better word. Both of us terrified. We were at the top of a steep flight of stairs. The other bard drew a knife, and I pushed him away from me. You can imagine the result.
You've drawn a clear enough picture.
But it was such a waste, Inquisitor. When I took off his mask, I knew him. We'd attended parties together. If I'd stopped to reason, if I'd used my voice instead of scuffling like a common thug, I'll always wonder who that young man would have grown into.
You of all people should know you can't play the game without bloodshed.
Never as the first resort, Inquisitor. Never as a way that makes currency of lives. In all the commotion... forgive me, I don't believe I ever thanked you for helping me with this.
You were taking on a league of professional assassins. I suppose I'll forgive it.
You've done much to help House Montilier. And should you ever visit Antiva, stories of the welcome we'll give you will be told for years. We've an interesting development, Inquisitor. A petition from citizens of Val Royal. They wish to know what Andraste said to you in the Fade.
They think she spoke to me.
Even Leliana can't trace the rumor's origin. It may be expedient to respond to those asking for Andraste's words.
Tell them the Inquisition's position is that the Divine saved me from the Fade, not Andraste.
Very well. Some of the devout will be discouraged, but it will placate the Chantry.